We're building a camper plane. Over the past 4 months, Aaron and I have been working day and night with the Build Assist guys at Bearhawk Aircraft to get this plane built, and hopefully ready in time for AirVenture at the end of July. Last week, we were at Airworks in Bruton, Alabama, rebuilding our engine, where we found out it was a really good thing we hadn't looked at. The thing that powers our engine could have just, to be blunt, like exploded in midair. This week we're back in Fairview, and guys, we're in for a ton of surprises as a lot starts to come together. Thanks for being here for this crazy build. Welcome back to Bearhawk.
Whoa, she looks so different.
Holy crap, that's a big change since when we left. It's like after 2 months of staring at the frame to come in and see the windshield on it, and the boot cowl on it, the firewall, and they did a ton of work on the wings too.
It was so funny because we got a text from Virgil and Mackenzie while we were gone at Airworks being like, we got this, and this done today. And we were like, bro, I think you did more in this one day, all y'all, than when we're in the shop for an entire week. So I think they may be kicking us out soon.
The homies should have your wings done by the end of the week.
That's insane.
And they'll be ready to go. We got some of your flight controls are on racks, getting ready to go over to the paint booth and start shooting primer on those. Well, after they have the wings done, pass those off to me, then they're gonna crank on the fuselage. So
Mackenzie's given us a whole list of things to do so that we could stay on track in order for us to make AirVenture. So starting off, we gotta finish flaps and gear legs. Everything is going to paint soon, all our control surfaces. So we gotta get those done so that the boys can finish everything else with the paint. We also gotta pick interior colors so we can get those paint samples in, or if we're using the same one that we maybe already have for our base coat, just start ordering more of those. Garmin is coming later this week, so we gotta prep and get ready for that a little bit more. On top of that, pick upholstery samples and get our harness lengths. So we got some things to accomplish this week.
I want to finish the gear legs because I feel confident in that.
Okay.
Then that'll be done, and then I can do the flap. Well, if I finish the flap, then that gives you something you can do, because then you can iron it and suture it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll do that so that way that you can have something to do here in an hour or two.
Okay.
So you start with the straight line right here.
Yeah, I cut that before I do anything. Trace how this is gonna lay.
Okay.
Because you don't want to cut into this fabric. So now when you pull this down, you can see that this is all the material you have right here to make this little flap. You'll cut that right there, and then you'll use this triangle to do this one. Okay. And then a strip right here to do that one. Just cut this piece out because you're gonna have this piece over the top to come over.
But tell me, can you see what you've known all your life?
First layer done right there. This I need to add thick glue to, so I can't lay this yet until thick glue's applied. Once all this dries for a while, we'll get back to it.
Till it's hard to believe. Oh, but I know that you're gonna be going where you're meant to be.
While we're doing 2 layers of glue right now, while that stuff dries, I can go ahead and come back to the gear leg and get rolling on this. I had to leave it kind of in the middle of things when we left this last week. So now I can get back to it and hopefully finish her up. She's already cut down to size. Pretty much I just need to trim it up and glue it up.
You too.
Did she tell you about our date?
That kills me, Ty. That kills me. I miss not working with Ty.
I know.
These are your paint samples from AirTech.
We got paint samples last week, and so all the colors came in, and the reds, the oranges, and the yellows all looked so good, but the one thing we were struggling with was the white, and it was more of like a tan than it was like an off-white. We ended up going to a local paint store, and we were like, all right, let's see if we can get some samples to send to them and see if they can paint match it, and AirTech just sent some back. These are looking so much better. It's giving more of that like eggshell vibe.
Like in comparison, this was the one last week, and this is, oh my gosh, these are so much better.
This was the one we got last week, which I don't even know if this is gonna show up right on camera, but it is like in person, it is more of a beige than I would even call it a white. And then these are the 2 new samples we got. I feel so much better about this. You wanna go put her in the sunlight?
Yeah. I actually really like that. I think that's our color.
All right, in broad daylight. It's not gonna get much brighter out here. Oh, it's so good. I love that.
Goodness, guys, that looks so
Dude,
good.
Ty, it looks so much better. Look at it.
So this is the last one.
Oh, so it's a step lighter than that.
Yeah.
But
This
that's
is like
too
a
white.
grayish green hues in it,
Yeah.
whereas this is...
Yeah, I like those. It's fun.
We got the Ty stamp of approval.
Good job.
Let's go.
Good job. Go team.
Wow, go team. Outside paint done, we could start painting all these flight controls, which is a next huge step in the process.
Been together for a long, long time. Time goes by so fast. Maybe it ain't been long enough.
No freaking way. Actually, Mondays are like Christmas around here. All of our Garmin stuff is here. Are you geeking? I'm geeking.
This is so exciting.
This is awesome. These are our tires. What a Monday. Freaking gear legs, man. These and the rudder, I think, are the hardest.
Someone booked this man a massage. He's tense.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, please. Okay, to say things are going fast today is feeling like an even understatement. Like, we just got in the tops of our control grips from Pioneer Control Grip. So with these control grips, you're able to actually customize what buttons you want to use. And Skylar's been awesome to work with. He's making the control just a little bit smaller for us. And then with our avionics, we get to pick exactly what buttons we want. So right now we're thinking a smoke, an autopilot disconnect, a comm swap, and then there's also a feature on the 750 by Garmin where you actually can talk to it. And Brad from Garmin is coming tomorrow, so we're gonna learn a lot more about our avionics tomorrow, and I get to ask him questions, and this is one question I'm gonna ask him. So this might change a little bit, but dude, it's exciting to see even our buttons getting done here. The places where the flaps actually mount to the wing, these I haven't done before, so Ty's about to show us.
You just want to be careful when you're doing this, that you don't drop those triangles. Like, it's okay if you drop some of them down in there, but you want to make sure you fish them out and they don't get like in here. Doesn't matter, it just, they will go in there. Glue all these down, all these flaps.
Easy.
They'll glue down, all mesh together.
And then the bolts, do I just take the bolts out or do I cut around the bolts?
No, take the bolts out.
Okay.
The bolts have already done their purpose.
It's things like that that make me so grateful that we're doing the build assist and that Ty is here to hurry this along. This saved me probably a solid hour of work. Probably more, honestly, knowing how fast/slow I am with this stuff. If you're gonna build a plane, get yourselves a Ty.
But we're also not gonna say that to his face or the ego will go.
yeah, that's between us, okay?
I feel like all I've been doing today is just editing. These past few weeks have been just crazy full of travel, whether it being like us going to Alabama and hanging out with Chris at Airworks or going up and shooting weddings, and I feel like all the editing is stacking up with me. So kind of spent most of today doing that, and then I think Paul's got some control surfaces ready for me to glue. I think I need to seal the weave for one of the flaps and then go over it with thick glue so that he can just hit it with the double cover tomorrow. So that's what I'm gonna be doing the rest of the night, because we also have Garmin coming tomorrow. So I'm like, everyone's trying to get prepped and ready. The shops never look so clean right now. Ty told the boys, y'all aren't leaving until you mop. So oh my gosh, it's gonna be a busy night.
Country lanes and coastal plains, endless views that we're passing through, making our way to a distant place, just us two, somewhere new.
You just finished? That's the second layer. So it just needs to be stretched?
Last night we got out of here around like 11 o'clock, I think. We were able to finish gluing these ribs, or Erin was, she crushed that, and then I was able to finish that gear leg. But today is the fun part for me because I get to finally stretch out the final layer, and then I think we'll seal the weave.
Counting down the minutes till it's Tuesday.
Our friends Dan and Brad are visiting Bearhawk today, and they are flying in right now. We're excited to have them around. They actually work at Garmin, and we just got our Avionics from them yesterday. So we're gonna get to do like some fun unboxings with them and just kind of hang out with them for the day. And I think, well, I don't know if Virgil will allow me to do this, but I'm gonna try and put them to work. If they're in the shop, they gotta get their hands dirty.
All right, Dan, you're up. Get on there.
All right, so this is 360, so it's the final stretch. So stay off the glue. Okay. I think go ahead and final stretch all of this, and then we'll flip it over and final stretch the other side too. 350, 360, somewhere in there.
No.
Old pro right here.
Dan came to say hi, and Paul said you're going to be put to work.
Yep.
I have inhaled acetone for the past 2 hours, and I can still smell it, so I'm hoping in the next hour I become immune.
It was such a unique experience getting to see all the Avionics in their boxes, because typically they just get sent out to the Avionics shop and the owners never really get to see them fully packaged. I know that this is just a tease, but we'll be making a full video about all of our Avionics really soon, along with the installation. Okay, a bit of a pivot. The guys here have been putting in so much work on the wings, and with them almost done, I asked Peter to walk us through what he's been up to with all the wiring.
At the wing roots, you're gonna have a big 20-pin connector that is making the connection between each wing and the fuselage. In the right wing, you have power and data communications to your autopilot servo, your roll servo. You have a pair of power and a ground to the aux fuel pump, so you can transfer fuel from the outside to the inside. You have another power line, which is a triple line, going to your position lights. Then you have a large power wire going out to the same end of the wing for landing light. In addition to that, because it's you,
we're making them work pretty hard around here.
You have a USB power and a spare twisted pair. So you have power and ground at the wingtip, and there's a power and ground just looped near the wing strut attachment should you want to put an outlet or some sort of a power connection there. The other side, it's a little bit less because you don't have the autopilot, but you have additional power and ground of a large wire size for the pitot mast because it's heated. So both sides are going to come to a cannon plug, and then on the tip we'll have just splices to go onto the tip since it's removable.
Wow, you've done so much, like all these labels.
If I didn't have to label, we'd be far ahead of the game.
You would save so much time, I'm sure.
If you want to get me a laser wire marker, it's only 50 grand or so. You can get a cheap one.
Cheap one.
All right, so to be fair, our build assist is pretty untraditional. I feel really lucky that we have the time to be here and that Virgil and McKinsey are allowing us to be here for all this build assist side of it, to be able to leave for 2 weeks and come back and see all of this work already done and the quality of the work being so high. Gosh, I feel so spoiled right now. I feel so lucky. Like, I mean, you look at that, like every single wire labeled like that. Ty here in a little bit, they've done a ton of work on these wings. I mean, this has been all they've been working on for like the last week and a half, so they're almost finished up with those. I think we might be going to paint this week, maybe early next week, so getting really close with that. So to be able to come back and all this work done, I mean, that's an amazing feeling.
Running wild, nothing to lose. Do you remember the innocence of youth?
Where did you get those from?
I found this one this year and I found this one last year. No, Peter's designing he's gonna 3D print me a mount to hang these on the wall.
Oh, so cool.
Only Ty would walk into an airplane shop with antlers.
It's gonna make one of you girls out there a very lucky husband.
What if there's no girls watching this? What if there's all guys?
All dudes. He's gonna make one of you guys out there.
He's gonna make one of you guys.
Very lucky man.
Yeah, I think we're about ready for Seth to tell you what we did in here. As Paul's pointed out, we have come out with this new Bearhawk wing manual. All of this is included.
There's been no manual for building these wings. So
what? There hasn't? So we had to cut the hole for the pitot mast, and then we had to cut the hole where the cable comes out for your ailerons. And then on the inside, we plumbed the aux tank to the main tank through the sight gauge, so you can always see when you flip on your pump that it is transferring fuel. So that's why we do that. So all these rigid tubing is all, this connects to the fuselage, this connects to the fuselage, this is your sight gauge holes, this is your flap push rod, and we had to clean up that end, clean up this end, and then you put your bumper plate on and your flap springs. I think we're going to make a note in the manual, but while you take this torque tube out, if you're going to put conduit in for your electrical lines, go ahead and do that while this is out. It just makes it a lot easier to install. And then yeah, all these holes through the ribs, you got to drill all these and put these snap bushings in. That's for your ailerons. And this is your pitot-static system, basically AOA and pitot-static. The only thing that needs to be done is Peter needs to come wire the pitot port and the transfer pump, and then we're ready to button these things up.
Forever young. Forever young. Forever young. Forever and ever, always young.
Right. Paul, while we wait for this glue to dry, do you want to go over our upholstery? Since we're like doing the whole camper plane thing, I've like Pinterest and saved like a whole Pinterest board of van photos. I had like the exterior that I modeled off of the Bronco that Paul and I both found, and then I have some interior ideas. You want to see them? We need to pick our interior color, and I think we've both kind of just decided we're gonna stick with our exterior color, with being that like cream colored white vibe. That one. I'm more of that sad beige kind of neutral girl, especially when it comes to like decor.
Like,
I
look
love
at our house.
Yeah, our house is very sad beige.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of sticking with more the neutral sides, but when I was looking at van life, like interiors, I also loved when like pops of color kind of like brought out the sad beige stuff, if that makes any sense. I only have a couple saved. This was like the interior stuff that I was modeling it after.
Things I'm thinking of as well, the interior features we've already selected at this point is our grips. So our grips are like a natural wood, so I'm guessing we'll probably pull that wood accent look throughout.
Yeah. What we're really deciding on right now is the upholstery, if we know the interior color is going to be that white or cream. This is the thing that was the most exciting to me, was this photo. And it's because it has that wood with the flooring, and so we get the wood from the grip, or if we were going to do any other wood things, you have the color of the cushions that brings the pop of color, so we can make our like
They back.
We're picking our upholstery right now.
Oh, how's that going?
We literally just started. I saved like this because I thought this was kind of fun with like, kind of brings the outside color of like the plane, but like the wood of like the handle grips and stuff. If we're doing the inside white cream.
Those, like nice wood hip grips.
Yeah. We could kind of use these to see what would go with like a vibe like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just to
I
get
like
better.
that color. I like that color too, though.
Yeah.
I'm like a dark / I've had a thing for orange leather lately.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I kind of really like orange
It gives
leather.
that like vintage vibe.
It does.
Something I'll mention is you can two-tone it if you wanted to. Like, we could do BAM and BAM if we want. I'm not saying this, but like, I was just saying, like, we could two-tone it like that.
Like
that,
one
or
seat,
like,
one and one in the other?
yeah, like
No. Frick, man, why is this so hard?
Can I walk over there to John's plane really quick?
Yeah. John, thank you for letting us use your plane so many times as an example.
Your plane has been an essential part of our build. I actually like the brown in here. I think it accents well. But something you and I've talked about a ton is we want to keep a light cockpit.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is light. I think this is a lot lighter.
Yeah. And it has more of that warmth that we want to our plane.
Yeah.
That was honestly the one I was leaning to the most.
Oh, good. This is my favorite out of all those.
I think
If we have
that's
to
my
select
favorite
out of
too.
all those, this is it. Done.
If I'm looking at this Pinterest board, I think this is resounding of this same similar vibe of the warmth. You know what I mean? The warmth is going to be easy to add accent colors if we wanted to.
Inevitably, Aaron's going to buy a plant along the way, too, that I'll have to keep.
At least.
At least two. All Alright, a little insider scoop to the Bearhawk operation. These kits are made in Mexico. There's like 35 guys down there full-time making these airplanes. They're shipped up here to Fairview. Once they get them in, they pack them with a bunch of stuff, like the windshield, maybe tires, just a lot of odds and ends. And then once they get done with packing them all up with all this stuff, they ship them out to wherever they need to go. This one in particular is going to Australia. I just love being able to see that and know that some guy in Australia is about to get their plane that they've probably been waiting on. Pretty cool. Y'all, we got bougie floorboards. We talked about possibly making these ourselves, but they take a really long time and it'd be next to impossible to get this clean to finish. Carbon Concepts in Alaska helped us out with this, and holy crap, they do beautiful work. Like, look at that.
She looks good.
This saved us so much time. These carbon fiber panels that we got are now headed onto the CNC machine where they're gonna be cut down to exact spec for our floorboards in our plane. Virgil has it all set up. He's been spending quite a bit of time on this thing, getting the plans all set out. He's tested a couple, and we're about ready to get this guy cut down to size.
Okay, I'm gonna hit the green button now.
Ready? All right, here goes nothing.
Just like that, the gear leg and the last elevator are completed. So we'll put those on the rack to dry and then get going on these flaps over here and finish these guys up. This is it. These are the last two things. Flap 1 of 2 is almost done double covering.
I think I've ever seen 3 grown men so close to each other underneath the plane's wing. What are you doing, Ty?
I'm riveting the wing.
So we're putting in a full autopilot, what we call a 3-axis autopilot in our aircraft. And a quick rundown on how this all works. So all of our flight controls, the ailerons are connected, the elevators are connected, and the rudder is its own thing. With that being said, we need 3 motors to run the ailerons, the elevator, and the rudder. We call these things servos, and they're installed different places in the plane. And right now they're installing the servo for the ailerons on our plane. It's installed in our right wing, but it controls both the left and right ailerons. And let me show you how that works.
So right here is the cable that controls the ailerons. So as this moves, it will move our right and left aileron because they're all interconnected. Then the servo, this little motor, connects into the cable, and it will move the cable as needed for the autopilot. So from this one motor, both ailerons will move.
So I've known about that for a long time, like the different servos and that they control the flight surfaces in that way. But what I haven't known is how they actually connect into the cables. And that is what Peter's about to do, is connect this thing up.
These days are running slow. Sunsets and shores far from home.
I can't believe we're to this point. This right here is the last fabric I will be rolling out for our plane, as long as I don't mess it up. But this is the last flap that we're gonna be covering, and then Aaron and I think, are done with fabric. There's still the fuselage to cover, but that's not an Aaron and Paul job. So after like a month and a half, here goes the last flight surface. So here at Bearhawk, they have a full paint booth in their other building, so we're hauling everything over to the other building right now. Or at least a few things over. Let's go ahead and get it all painted up. So Virgil's gonna start with primer first. Once it's all primed and ready to go, then we'll go ahead and shoot our color. The colors should be in the next day or two. I think they got boxed up by AirTech today or yesterday, and they're being shipped out over the weekend. So we should have a colorful airplane very soon.
I'm sealing the weave for the flap for the last time. Sealing the weave has to do with kind of closing in the fabric, so then that way when paint comes on or maybe another layer of glue comes on, it doesn't like seep into the other side. So we're sealing her up. This is the last double layer, and I think she goes to primer next. We sent a few things to primer today, so it's crazy that we're at that point. Paul's been a champ and has been doing this double layer for all of these, because if y'all have been wondering why we've been behind with videos, it's because of moi aussi. It's just been a busy past few months, and work along with like the plane build and editing's kind of caught up to me. So he's been awesome and taken over the double covering of these two flaps, and I figured I might as well help him out at 1 a.m. by finishing up this one.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
I've been working, but I think she has the hard job for sure. Editing these videos takes a lot of time, but
the plane build takes a lot of time too.
yeah, we're super glad we get to share them with everyone though.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Side note, the 6-to-1 to seal the weave, it's also to stick the first and second layer together, so there's no air bubbles, so the paint doesn't just expand and contract and crack off.
I learned something new tonight.
Yes, sir.
No, actually, no, we didn't have that. I used pliers.
I know. I just told you that.
Oh my
I
god.
used pliers. That's why.
Wow.
Yeah,
Lady's
the
got such a
knife
charming
Yeah.
personality. Brad brought bagels. I can't speak that. That's like a tongue twister. Brad brought bagels. Hi, you should vlog some of your Utah trip for everyone to see.
You gonna give me a camera?
You want one?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know what you say to people that you don't know.
I mean, you have Uncle Eddie watching this.
Oh. I'll send you some pictures of the antlers I find, Uncle Eddie.
This man's going shed hunting in Utah,
Wow.
and he went out and he bought himself a very nice GPS walkie-talkie from Garmin. It's made for hiking, but this guy made it a shed hunting tool.
Well, shed hunting is kind of for guys that they like to hunt, but he doesn't really like to kill animals, so.
Aww.
He picks up dead.
He's a softie.
I hear he volunteers at the dog shelter too.
You want to hear my opinion on dog shelters?